Um, Waiting for God's timing. It's probably one of the hardest things that I've had to struggle with. And I'm getting better at letting go and letting God, but it's not easy. It happens in the small things, and it happens in the big things too, that you pray for, that you desire, and you ask God for His help in. A small example is tax returns. Normally we get our tax returns all at once from all the states. I work in Mississippi, so I get a Mississippi return. Tiffany gets a Louisiana return, and I get a federal return. Usually all land at the same time, and we use them to pay bills and knock down credit cards, stuff like that. This year, it was spread throughout the year. We just got a Louisiana return last week, and it was a good thing because things are a little tight right now. So, it's God's timing because He knows what we need most. If that money had come in when we normally expected, it wouldn't still be here. I can guarantee that. So that timing is, He knew better. But even the big things, and like my soul, I can't think of something bigger than the importance of that. If you remember the story from when Jesse was missing, and I had to go and get him out of Lima, Peru. I was supposed to meet him in the airport, and he left. And at that point, my mom, who had been praying and praying and praying that I would connect with Jesse, she couldn't take it anymore. She ran outside and she screamed at the sky, God, why? Why are you doing this to me? See, she didn't know that God knew that I needed astronomical odds against saying that this was just a whole series of coincidences. For me to actually come to God and understand that He's real and alive in my life, I needed an overwhelming exposure of God's will being acted out by the people that surrounded me in that journey. And that's why God didn't answer her prayer at that time. I mean, Jesse almost died when he was about 4 years old. He's allergic to bees. And he got stung by a bee shortly after he got stung on the hand by a caterpillar, a special kind of caterpillar that stung on his hand. And he kind of had a reaction to the caterpillar sting, but not like he had when he got stung by a bee. He got stung on the ear, and he swelled up like a balloon. I'll try to stay still.
Be still.
He swelled up like a balloon. His throat closed. Luckily, he was at a babysitter that was about a mile from the doctor's office. The babysitter knew something was wrong when initially he didn't swell that much, but when she...
Do we use it?
I'll just turn it off and talk louder.
No.
All right. Is it on?
Yes. It's on. Talk closely.
Okay. Initially didn't swell right up, but he had a reaction. He said, "My feet itch." And the babysitter knew that something was not right when he said, "My feet itch." So she immediately called my mom to go get his medicine because he had Benadryl, liquid Benadryl that he was taking for the caterpillar sting that he had gotten earlier. And so my mom had to go to the house and get the medicine. Meanwhile, the babysitter took him to the doctor's that was a mile away. And, just that day, the doctor came back to work early from lunch. He normally takes an hour lunch, and he came back 15 minutes early, which is unheard of. And he said if he hadn't been there, that that Jesse would have died. He had swollen up in the car on the way to the doctors. He could not breathe through his swollen throat. And when they got him into the doctor's office, the doctor had to inject his heart with adrenaline in order to keep him alive, and then injected him with Benadryl to get his swelling to go down. So, it was like God saved two people by saving Jesse. He saved me too. And so you never know when the road you're on looks bumpy. It's God's plan. Don't worry about it. There's a song out right now that I think says a lot of what I'm trying to say, and it's called "Even If." It's by Mercy Me, and I just want to read a couple of the verses from about midway through the song. It's part of the chorus, and it says, "You've been faithful, you've been good all of my days. Jesus, I will cling to you, come what may, 'cause I know you're able. I know you can. I know you're able, I know you can. Save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow, I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word.